Welcome back, everyone, to Curse of Tamreon. This is NinjaManMat, and we have all the rest of the cast that I introduced earlier for the first part. The group that has made their way into the heart of Dorswa is just having defeated the Kaipiskada, the creature that had been stalking them, had somewhat helped them in their battle against the Rebcaps while they were traveling along the river, but then found them when they were hiding, or rather resting, in the hidden town of Satan, and it killed many villagers inside of one of the huts. They tracked it down to its underground lair, deep, deep within the caverns, beneath the jungles, and they were able to surprise it, catch it unawares, and through might and magic and holy fire, they were able to extinguish its life. However, once they defeated the Kaipiskada, the silent aura that had surrounded them was lifted at the end of their encounter, and across the small river, separating them from the other side of the cavern, they saw a large and somewhat imposing looking creature that seemed to be some kind of amalgam between humanoid and fish. And this creature, unlike the others that have been described, was covered in beautiful scarves of various colors tied across its body. And even from this distance, you can tell that it does smell faintly of flowers. Kyle, can you make a perception check for me, please?
Yeah.
This is going to be with disadvantage, considering you're in the fog.
Okay. Just checking a thing. Eh.
And one more roll, if you don't mind, for disadvantage.
Oh, yes, sorry, right.
Oh, that's okay.
Be higher. I need at least that 13.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
okay.
it's a good thing the natural 20 didn't go through necessarily, but with a 13, you can recognize those scarves. In fact, you have a couple of scarves on your own body that look very similar. These were gifts that you had given to Duriana many, many months ago when you were first taking her on as your protege. And now they found themselves adorning this creature.
On reflex without even thinking about it, like Kyle is like sprints towards the edge and is like, "Where is she?"
And you can see the creature kind of looking at you as you sprint forward. It kind of moves back. And it kind of just creeps towards you, almost moving onto all fours, like three limbs touching the ground at a time as it kind of moves to the edge, staring across from you. And it seems
Kyle
to...
kind of crouches down slightly and like is watching it.
The creature, as you crouch down, appears to be mirroring you. And a level of resignation appears to be making its way into its very alien-looking eyes as it opens those very large, dark pearls and excitedly jumps in the water towards you. It swims right up to the edge and appears almost like some weird little fish puppy. Just scrambles up towards your feet and reaches out with both a large, muscular, finned claw and a tentacle that moves from its back kind of up towards you. And then when it sees kind of in front of you, between the two of you, this clawed appendage and this tentacle, it withdraws, looking almost ashamed, and it kind of withdraws within itself and returns back into the water, still staring at you, but kind of hiding itself within the moving waves.
And I get the impression that, do I get the impression rather that it approached me out of like it was seemed happy to see me, maybe?
Yes.
Okay. Kyle's gonna sit like right on the edge and let her feet dangle in the water. Whatever. She had to come through it to get up here anyway. She's not dry. And she just like feet sitting in the water, and she kind of like folds her arms like this and leans forward, like on her knees, like elbows on her knees. And it's okay. It is okay. You can come say hello.
It approaches very slowly and is at the very edge of the water, not daring to leave. But it does reach out with one of its hands and just kind of like taps your foot with its outstretched claw, not to hurt you, but just kind of it's trying to keep as much of its body under the water, kind of hiding it from you as it can. But it does at least make a slight amount of contact with you, and you can hear this low, almost rumbling trill coming from somewhere deep within its body. It seems to be at least somewhat excited to see you.
You, those are some very nice scarves that you have there. And Kyle will just kind of like hold up one arm, like with like some scarves trailing down from her wrist that look like they match the ones that it is wearing, just to show it. Look, I have some too.
It reaches out and just and it has the same kind of it's clinging, the water's clinging it to its weird slimy flesh, but and it tries to kind of pull it away to make it flowy, but it's not working, and you can see it gets kind of dejected and upset, and it slams its arms into the water, making a big splash around it.
No, it is okay.
And it
Do,
looks
do I
down.
get
While this is happening, by the way, she
understands what I'm saying, or
It does seem to understand what you're saying, at least somewhat.
okay.
And she, what were you saying?
while this is happening, she's gonna walk over to this side of the water's edge and kind of just like keep an eye on things. She doesn't like this guy.
Kyle is a little unsure about him too, but it seems like if anybody is going to know where they need to go next, it is going to be this strange fish puppy. Oh, sorry, you were gonna say something.
And almost as if it's reading your mind in a sense. When you make that observation, it swims away from you, gets up on the shore, and in this very kind of hunched form, really not enjoying being out of the water, but seeing that you're all made of leg and not a fin, it gets up on this side of the cavern and kind of gestures for you to follow it.
Kyle
Kyle.
thinks
Kyle, come. And it seems like it works very hard to try to say some semblance of word that you can understand.
Did you say Kyle?
Marin would like to mind link and ask, can you understand me in its head? And if this is how this works. We don't have to share a language, but it can speak back that way. But if it can understand me, then it should be able to.
Give me a moment.
Okay. Amelia turns away.
What do you say to it, Marin?
Marin just asks, can you hear me? Can you understand me? Like, just in its head.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. You can speak to me this way if it's difficult for you to speak out loud, and I can hear your words in my head.
Difficult words are weird. Kyle, friends, come back in now. Please?
And then I'll just turn to Kyle and say, I can speak telepathically like I've done with you before. It's telling me that Kyle, it should come with it. Please follow.
Can you ask him, is it a young girl who gave him the scarves?
Her.
Her?
Did someone give you those scarves? Did a young girl give you those scarves?
And Camellia, when you say her, the creature, having moved away, kind of gesturing for you to come, turns around, looks directly at Kale and says, Kale! Friend. Come. And in your mind, Marin, you hear back, friend. Mine.
Those are yours? They've always been yours?
No. And yes. My friend. Gift.
Did Kyle give those to you?
Kyle. Yes. Friend.
Okay. Kyle? Those weren't given to her by a little girl. You gave her those.
Kylie is across the water and up the other side in like a second, like the fastest that she has ever moved, like ever. And she drops to her knees. She's like, hey, Dariana?
When you approach her so quickly, when you approach it so quickly, the thrall that once had the name of Duriana steps back, worried, but then seeing the posture that you take, it tentatively moves forward and looks into your eyes for approval as it slowly kind of wraps its arms around you and not quite touching you, but kind of enveloping you in this big, like, hug where it can't bear to touch you, but it wants to be close to you. And you can just hear it try and mouth the words to get out what it's been saying. The words Kyle and the word friend and the word come. Please.
Kyle throws her arms around it. Like, there are tears streaming down her face. This does not happen. Like, Kyle doesn't show emotions that are not positive or smug or angry. There are tears streaming down her face, and she is like holding on for dear life. I am so sorry. This was not supposed to happen. Oh, you left, and no, this cannot be.
And the rest of you are looking on. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, she's just holding on and sobbing at this point.
And the rest of you are looking on, seeing Kyle embracing this large abomination is the best word. It's some terrible hybrid between fish and person. And it has long claws, this bulbous, puffy form with tentacles, almost like parasites springing out from its flesh. And despite that, Kyle is embracing it, and this large hulking form hugs her back, and you can see the tentacles drawing in close towards Kyle, but then shivering and almost that they're being forced to just dangle and playsate and move somewhere else, almost avoiding messing up and ruining this moment shared between two long-lost friends. And as you're closer, Kyle, you can definitely smell the unmistakable scent of the perfume that was given to you. And after a moment, the once Duriana thrall pulls away from you, and it has this pained expression on its face, and you can see that, unfortunately, no tears fall from its eyes, but you get the sense that it aches, similar to you. And it holds onto your hand and just gently pulls you along with it as it says, "Please come back in." And
I will. And anything you need, anything at all. And she's basically just like, this is she is not thinking about anything. She just, bad idea or not, she just goes. She's not thinking about it at all.
What do the rest of you
Yeah,
do?
I'd say Chi will see that like Kyle's like getting up and starting to follow him, and so she's going to fly over and like kind of get behind Kyle and like grab her shoulders for a second and just be like, "Hold on. Think about this. Think about we don't have to walk in there right away."
Yeah, Marin's gonna cross and
we-
start following.
What
You
we
do not understand this. This is my fault. I did this to her. Deliberate or not, I gave her visions of adventure. And now this. I owe her, Chi. I owe her.
Your life?
If that is what it takes, then yes.
Kyle,
If
as you're
there's
saying this,
anything to do-
the thrall just gently squeezes your hand as you are saying this.
She is the reason I am here.
She'll still have her hands on her shoulders, but she'll let one fall away, and then she kind of looks back towards Camellia and Marin to see if they have anything to say, because she's not sure what to say.
Lead us to the center.
Is that spoken out loud? Can everybody hear that?
with with lungs full of gurgling salt water. Yes. And I'm speaking to the creature.
As you're all considering this, a gentle wind blows through the cavern. I'd like everybody who is injured to please heal 2d4 plus 2 points of damage. And anyone who is not injured, just because I don't want to put this act of God to waste, please roll that amount as well and take half of it and add it to whatever temporary hit points were bestowed upon you by Marin, as instead of healing your wounds, it temporarily shores up the defenses that you have.
This is the fate that awaits all of Tamreon. Every single life that you seek to place under your protection. She. Every single innocent who you've helped at your shrine. This is why we are here. Our destiny lies ahead.
She will kind of like, she'll has her hand on Kyle's shoulder for a second. She'll give her shoulder like a little bit of a squeeze and then just like let her hand drop.
Kyle reaches up and, like, just before Chi's hand drops, squeezes it as well.
I look to Marin and I say, the Titans will be done.
Marin has an uncharacteristically stern / stoic look and just kind of nods.
You two
Beckon.
some things that we do not.
What was that? I apologize.
Oh, I said, you two know some things that we do not?
I've seen where we're going.
Rael
going to
to
save
send me
the-
to find this man for a reason, and I think this is it.
I'd like to summon Yarny.
Oh, okay.
And I caution my comrades in arms to steel themselves to venture into corruption's heart. That is where this child leads us.
I am willing to go wherever she leads me.
Good.
And with that, do you all follow the
Mhm.
once Duriana Thrall into the depths of the caverns?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, hearing what I've heard from directly from its mind and knowing what I know, yes, there's no hesitation from Marin's end.
Okay. Okay, give me just a second here. My
'Cause I
my
don't get
body is
any
betraying
impression
me.
that it's hostile unless you want me to roll an insight against it or something.
Please do if you're worried about that. Yes.
I mean, Aaron doesn't, but Marin might, so 25.
You, when you reach into this creature's mind and begin speaking with it, you get the sense that it cares for the person that it is holding hands with. That it has no hostility or ill will, but it did come here with a purpose. But you do not sense hostility at this time. However, with a
That's good enough for
25,
Marin,
I
think. Go
will
ahead.
reveal to you, since you are a very perceptive individual, from what it has said to you and from its actions, you get the feeling that this creature is not fully in control of itself. So while it is not hostile now, you're not sure how long that may last.
I think this will go mind link directly to Kyle. I can tell that this thing cares very much for you, and from what I've read on the boards and how you've interacted with this, I'm pretty sure I know who it is. I get no hostility from it, but I don't think it's fully in control of itself, so it may not have the best intentions forever. Right now, it's your friend, but we should be on guard. I don't think it has full control of itself.
Kyle takes a deep breath and nods. And I can answer mentally to you as well.
Yes. Yeah.
When Kyle answers you in your mind, you hear, because she hasn't done this yet, you hear her differently. You do not hear a French accent. You do not hear a Southern accent. You just hear, I know that. I can tell that she's fighting something, but maybe it's something that we can free her from.
That
If not,
would be the
then
best outcome.
If not, then we'll figure that out when we get to it. But I'm not willing to give up on the idea yet. I have to focus on that, and that will get me through this.
Understand. If and probably when that time comes, do you want to be the one to handle it, or would you like me to do it?
Kyle closes her eyes and visibly shudders for a moment.
I know it's upsetting to think about, but we need to be prepared for this.
If that's what it comes to, and there's no other choice, it has to be me. I owe her that. I owe her everything.
I'm going to keep this between us for now, but if it starts being more obvious that it's going to be a danger to the rest of us, I'm going to have to tell them.
Of course.
All right. Leave this to you.
Beckon. Please.
We will come with you. We are prepared. Lead the way.
Kyle. And it kind of gives you this really wide, toothy grin. It's supposed to be somewhat of a pleasant smile, but it looks slightly horrifying. But you understand the meaning behind it. And
Kyle smiles back through tears and says, I am with you all the way.
And without pulling on you, it seems very gentle as it drags you along, but it moves slowly and ponderously. And if ever your grip begins to tighten with it and it seems as though it's going to be dragging you, it'll stop a step. Just make sure that it's not dragging you, but still leading you along. And over the course, it takes maybe about 10 minutes or so as it takes you through a winding network of tunnels. However, eventually you are able to come to another part of the cave, still very similar to the last one you had seen. The water continues flowing to the west of you. And as you make your way into a new section of the cavern, you can see that, Camellia, this is the scene that you had seen play out before you earlier. By the way, everyone still has dark vision, right?
It lasts for an hour, so
Perfect.
probably.
Yep,
Depending
no,
on
you're
how long
good.
that took.
Only been 10 minutes, you're fine. As you all make your way into this open alcove, there's no light to be seen. However, with your dark vision, you are able to make out the shapes, and Camellia, you yourself can see just like you had when you had seen through your dark vision. And there are small, as you get closer, you can see there are small little lights that seem to be emanating off parts of the rocks here in this cavern. And you can see numerous people that are tied up to those makeshift tentacle ropes. And they seem to have guardians surrounding them. There are multiple fish-like humanoids that are just making their way, plodding around and looking at the captured individuals in this cavern. As well, there are others, 2 others you can see that are like the Duriana thrall that appear to stand vigilant guard at the edge of the pool. And as it draws you ever closer, it brings you, Kyle, right up to the area where all of the creatures are being restrained. Do you continue to follow Duriana?
I mean, I absolutely do. Kyle is completely unquestioning.
She is acting like bodyguard to Kyle and will stay like right behind her, sort of thing.
Okay. Are the rest of you moving up with the group?
Yeah, Marin is probably staying about 10 feet behind, but following kind of with a purpose. And then I threw I put it in the chat there, but I was giving Chi 1 heal cure wounds for 8.
Gotcha. Perfect, Chi. Go ahead and heal 8 hit points. And anybody who has an 18 or above on their passive perception, you notice that there are figures somewhere within this river lurking just out of sight. You can see shiny eyes and little, not air bubbles necessarily, but little movement bubbles that shift at the top of the moving stream as you sense that you're not sure what, but there is something lurking under the water.
I'm gonna keep the mind link on Kyle, but I'm gonna tell everyone about that quietly in their heads.
And as you are making your way down, Marin informs any of you who didn't notice it yourselves that there are creatures or something lurking within the waters to the western end of the cavern. And as you make your way down the tunnel, you see in an open cavern there is a large space filled mainly with water. There is a large, you could say, pond or lake on the eastern end of the cavern that stretches out, encompassing almost the entire thing. And you can see in the corner of the pool there seems to be a dark spot where it seems to go down deeper, almost as if there is a hole or some kind of dugout burrow in the corner there. And you see numerous people closest to you. They appear to be adventurers. It's possible these are the people that Duriana had set off with, the Tamreon Titans that they had left in order to try to help the peoples of Dorswa. You see others as well. There appears to be a guard from one of the towns, as well as a bugbear on the far corner. All of them, again, are tied to these glowing rocks with these weird tentacles that appear to have been ripped away from these very creatures in order to bind the unconscious people here. And you can see that some of these people, much like what you have at this point ascertained had happened to Duriana, are succumbing to whatever transformation they're being subjected to, as some of them have very clear looking bodies where it seems that something is growing inside of them, and you can see some have claws, some have tentacles sprouting out from them, some have gills or scales in place of flesh, but they're in various states of transformation as they too succumb to the enthrallment of whatever creature lurks here.
I imagine probably not, but can we or can Marin tell whether any of them are, like, whether they're all too far through the transformation to have control over themselves, or whether any of them might be savable?
As you're having this discussion between you, Kyle, Duriana's thrall lets go of your hand and looks back at you and just nods as she continues walking, seemingly taking her place in vigil at the edge of this lake. And she just stares towards the hole. Beckon, friend. And
Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, go ahead.
No, you go first.
Your question was directed either at Marin or Camellia. I didn't hear which, but if either of you would like to go ahead and make a medicine check, or even an arcana check, you can see if you believe it would be possible to salvage what has happened to these people.
Can I make an
18
arcana
medicine.
check?
Yeah, absolutely.
18 arcana.
Actually gonna let that ride because I'm not proficient in either of those.
Okay. We have an 18 in both medicine and arcana.
And then we put
As-
this together.
As you're asking this of Marin, you yourself are applying your own intelligence to this as you think. As you express your query, you also start thinking it over, and you're considering you yourself aren't a mage of restoration, but you are a powerful spellcaster, and you have much knowledge even of things that you yourself likely aren't able to cast. And both of you are able to come to the conclusion that while it seems as though these creatures are being transformed, that there is powerful magic in the world, and there is always something that can reverse what has been done. Whether you are able to go to the very top and receive the power of the gods, or at least godlike beings, or you're able to use what could be considered simple but powerful magics. Marin, you do not believe that there is a natural way to reverse what has happened here. Bed rest and the application of various salves or even possibly surgeries may be possible in order to stop what has happened here, but likely would not be able to recover. But you both know that with the proper application of restoration magic, it is likely that what has happened here could be reversed. Now, you are not aware if an entire transformation, someone who has gone from humanoid to whatever these aberrations are salvageable. Now, of course, there are things in the world you are able to activate the magic of, like a wish. That would certainly work to reverse
Dawn
such
magic.
a condition. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Do any of these people who are mid-transformation appear to me to be particularly useful in a fight if they were not being turned into frog people?
Make an insight check, please.
23. Baron's not good at a lot of things, but he's very wise.
You can see that aside from the fact that all these people are unconscious and extremely injured, you would ascertain that they have been stabilized and little else. They have, aside from the transformations, they also have multiple abrasions and wounds. Nothing life-threatening, but certainly, even if you were able to wake them up, and you do think that at least those that are closest to you probably would be very good in a fight. They wouldn't be able to bring such power to bear unless they received a massive amount of restoration.
Alright. I don't get the impression that a minor or a lesser resto would matter. It would have to be like burning some diamonds, right?
Nah. I think they just need a nice cup of tea.
Fixes many things. I'm not sure if this is Earl Grey's specialty.
And while you're talking amongst yourselves, each of you, in your mind, hear a voice.
You've come. Wonderful. I knew you would be here, eventually. I knew you would track down my kin, my children. You do not belong here. I know what it is you seek, and I promise you shall not have it. However, I will not allow you to leave empty-handed. I seek to parley. Should you promise not to attack me or my children, I can give you information that will help you on your quest, that will help you destroy and lift the curse of Tamreon.
With no hesitation, Kyle yells out, "You have stolen your children from the lives that are rightfully theirs." They had homes, they had families, and you have stolen it from them.
Kyle, without responding to your initial response, you hear again.
You will leave this place, one way or another. I would prefer you leave with my information, and I would prefer to keep my children.
And even though it's all happening inside of your mind, Kyle, you look over and see that the Duriana thrall stares up at you with these large bulbous eyes. Kyle, please. Okay.
It's
Okay. Your fault. No.
Kyle is like right at the edge of the water. You want us to talk to it? You do not want us to destroy it?
It looks down at its form and almost, without even, it's difficult for it to reply, and almost wordlessly looks over itself and looks up at you, as if to say, what's done is done. Choice. Mine. And it puts a hand upon your shoulder. Hero. Curse. Destiny. Okay.
You want us to lift the curse.
Okay.
And you wish to stay here?
No. Yes. You can see that there was kind of a resignation with the no, and then almost immediately snapped into a positive response. You definitely feel that Duriana Thrall is conflicted.
Kyle looks across at Marin and says, Can you tell this time which is the real answer? What she really wants?
I mean, I think Aaron has an answer on that. Should I insight that? Or
If you'd like.
oh, I'm just trying to keep it more to the character where I'm not just being like, well, it seems to me like probably they said no, but they were forced to say yes.
However you'd like to do it, yeah.
I'm gonna go with in character, so it's 16 on trying to figure
A
out.
16 is pretty good. That is not a bad roll in any regard.
Can I also make my own insight chat?
Absolutely.
I know Duriana pretty well.
By light be purged.
It was just a 14 for me.
With a 14, you were basically able to pick up what I had described before. There's definitely... If this truly is Duriana, and you have no reason to suspect that it is otherwise, since there is no one here that looks like her, and everything from what you've seen points to the fact that this is the young woman. She wasn't a girl when she left. She was a young woman. Very young, but from what she's telling you, she chose to come out here. And though it didn't end the way that she had hoped, she has a way of helping you now. And she's offering peace, even though she wishes more than anything she could be with you. This is her home now, but not because she chose it, if that makes sense.
And did I get anything
Kyle-
better with the 16, or am I in the same spot?
Or you can move wherever you'd like.
No, with my 16, was I getting more the impression that like the no was the real answer and the 16 was forced, or?
You get the sense that coerced is the wrong word, but it's somewhat appropriate. But other than that, yes.
Then I'll
but she
relate
thinks
that
it's-
back to the question that was asked of me over the mind link.
Kyle is like has both hands resting on like the arms, tentacles, whatever of this creature and says, "You do not want to stay here, but you will because it will help save the world."
And you can see when you say that its whole body retracts. Like it was just stabbed, even though nothing hurt it. And a very strained, okay. Yes. And then a very quick hero, and Durana puts their clawed hand up to your cheek.
I do not want to leave you here, but I will respect your choice because you brought us here, and I would not be here if it wasn't for you. That makes you the hero, not me.
And she
And
gives
Kyle's
you...
gonna...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Kyle's gonna take off. I'm not wearing it tonight because I got ready in such a hurry. But the moonstone necklace.
Yeah.
Kyle's gonna take off the moonstone that she wears all the time and has for a long time. And she's, I don't just Does the thrall creature have like enough of a normal size neck, or
It's
is
a
this gonna
pretty
be?
huge neck. Yeah, I mean, their head is enormous and it just blends in with their body. However, there are either tentacled appendages or even spiny frills that you would likely be able to tie that onto, much like the scarves are if you wanted to.
Yeah. She'll take it and tie it on, kind of wherever she can find a spot for it, and say, "It's it is true. You are the hero, and you will always be with me."
She hugs you. And I didn't make a mistake this time. She does hug you, Duriana, somewhere deep within the form of that fish monster. And you are filled with inspiration. I'm going to grant you a point of inspiration for this act of kindness that you've shown her. And as she hugs you, she pulls you tight and then pulls away and steps back into the water and gives you a very wide grin. Not going back and hiding in the water like she did when you first met, but kind of standing between both worlds, half of her body out and half of her body submerged, kind of showing that duality that she's still clinging to a piece of what she once was, but now it is something more. It's different now. This isn't the Duriana you once knew, and it never will be again.
Kyle just tries to smile through the tears, and under her breath, like not loud enough for anyone to hear, but she just kind of murmurs under her breath, "I will miss you."
I'm just going to
And
give Duriana one little perception check. Okay, no, they don't hear.
um being that close, she might hear it, but what she does notice is the fact that Kyle just turns around, like looking like her world is falling apart, and just flings herself against Chi, like looking for any sort of comfort.
Yeah, Chi will definitely give her a big hug and just try to like stabilize her a little bit because she probably is kind of like almost falling type thing. So she tries to make it look like she's not, to the best of her ability, to try to look like she's still standing on her own type thing. So she kind of shields her a little bit from the rest of the party with her wings, just to kind of give her a few seconds of being able to be like that, basically, and then giving her time to kind of straighten up a little bit. She doesn't say anything, but
It takes a minute,
Seeing-
but Kyle finally murmurs, "Thank you," and straightens, and just like an act of comfort, not planning any kind of attack, but just like
Yeah.
rests her hand on the hilts of her sword, because that's, you know, the arcane focus and everything else too.
Yeah,
So
it's power. Even if it's not being used for aggression,
Everything
that's your power.
and she steps away from she enough that she's not shielded anymore and says, "I vote we talk to it."
When you turn back to the rest of the party, Camellia is staring at Chi. His fist is clenched at his side, water dripping down it. His straggling hair clinging to his face. He looks more like a drowned corpse than ever you have met him. And he is trembling with barely contained rage. And he does not respond.
There's a pregnant pause as this creature that has likely has the intelligence that it's gathered over eons of existence. And despite the fact that it is alien compared to any of you here, it's used to dealing with creatures like you. Rather, it's used to mastering creatures like you. And as if waiting for the right moment before it possibly could interrupt the situation and have it turn against it, you see the lake bubble as a large, milky white, eel-like creature, tentacles writhing and pulsing around it, exits the hole in the corner of the room and floats at the top of the pool into the center. And with its multiple intelligent but disdainful eyes, look down upon you.
It's peace, then. I have much to share. As much as you can.
She will catch her eyes with Camellia again and just watch him.
I would like to respond mentally. If this is two-way communication.
Yes.
By what oath, by what pledge can your peace be trusted? You are no creature of the other world bound by its laws. You care nothing for the 7 rivers that stand before the adamant gates. You blaspheme against the firmament itself. By what oath can we trust your peace?
There is a pause, but only just, as if it is attempting to formulate its thoughts in a reasonable, not venomous reply, as not just you, but all of you hear back.
I hold no oath. I am not of you, or the elementals you worship. I am beyond time, beyond power, beyond wisdom. From the deepest, blackest reaches of darkness was I born, and in the deepest of darkness shall I perish. Only when the very stars in the sky have fallen and extinguished.
I glance over at Marin for a brief moment, giving him a...
When you glance over, you see Marin's mace is floating up to his hand.
Give me just a moment. It wasn't done.
Well, this is. I mean, I was gonna say this was
Sorry,
happening
this is an
anyway,
interlude. Nothing's happening. This is a react interlude. Go ahead.
Yeah, just in the middle of this thing talking, like my telekinesis is picking my mace up and floating it up to my hand.
Understandable.
By no oath do I make this promise of peace. Only through my words and my actions can you trust that my hordes do not drag you down to the depths and welcome you to my family. I want you to succeed, mortals. I want you to enter the mountain, to find that which is buried there, and end this miserable curse. I have much to share. Do you wish to listen?
And so you said everyone heard that?
Everyone heard that.
Why do you want us to kill it? Why do you want its destruction?
My family is more important than the whim of the one flesh. I seek to build my colony anew. I want
Steal
to-
more children, you mean?
I want to welcome more into my family.
This is not welcoming. This is...
Kale, this thing is not like us. It does not feel what we feel. It does not think what we think. It has no heart to which you can speak.
And it will continue to do this to how many more? Hundreds, thousands, but
Everything.
it may have information.
If it
could tell
helps.
us what we need to know.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it could tell us something we need to know.
If it helps. At all. I do not do this. Grow my family out of spite, but out of love. You and your ilk are directionless. I merely seek to provide you with purpose and love.
There is nothing of love in what you are doing. Nothing. If you cared about love, you would give this girl back to me. You would free them all, because there are people missing, every single one of them. There are people who love them, who will wonder for the rest of their lives what happened.
I am merely reclaiming my children. They were born of the water, and to the water they have returned. All life comes from me. All life eventually returns to me. It is either my love or the one flesh's hate and hunger. If it helps, one is better than the other. You
All I
have
see
to see that.
as well. You hunger for more, to grow your family.
Yes.
I do not
Peace.
believe that you do this out of love.
What you
I will never.
believe is of no consequence to my designs. But I can help you. And I will. I offer you this. A token. And you can decide if you would like more. 341 years ago, the One Flesh descended. Lee-Bon responded, and the continent of Tamreon was formed. Every 11 years, a piece of that which feeds wriggles free and escapes from Lee-Bon's prison. These vestiges seek to release and be rejoined with the all-hungering once more. And this time, something more than a mere piece of the blood bather broke free from Lee-Bon's grasp. A fraction of the great old one's consciousness, and its ceaseless desire for freedom. It is cruelty and malice made flesh, and one with all that bend to its will. The Elder Brain.
Would you like to know more?
Service guarantees citizenship.
She really doesn't understand a lot what that means, I feel like. She knows, like, the story behind, like, Lee-Bon and stuff, but she has just been watching Camellia the whole time. Like, she'll turn back, like, to make sure that Kyle is still next to her, sort of thing, every once in a while, but she has been watching,
Probably for the best.
I know, she's don't want you walking off into the water. But
I can picture Chi just holding one of the scarves.
no, she probably is. She probably has, like, her talons out, like, just like that. But she has been watching Camellia to figure out, like, what the plan is here.
Chi, can I get you to roll an insight check?
Yes. I can.
And while you're all pondering this, you can see tentacles reaching out from the pool, not going near any of you, but just kind of absentmindedly during this conversation, just moving out from the pool and rubbing up against the
Gross.
captive individuals. They glow for a moment. Those that have scales, the scales spread ever so slightly. A tentacle sprouts from one of them, or they get more and more translucent as something churns and bubbles within them.
It's doing this because it knows it can. Where is it?
The silent Peakwind Mountains, buried deep within the heart of Tamreon.
Does it have any weaknesses to exploit?
Many, but not by you.
Then by who? You seek to make us your dogs of death, arm us.
Warriors of knowledge you be, and I will be the flame that stokes your wrath. The Elder Brain has many servants. Among them, an enclave of Ithalids. All of these servants across the continent and beyond. It draws power from those that have succumbed to its designs to create the dark fog that covers the land, the murky veil. Only with the destruction of the Elder Brain will the fog that blankets Tamreon be dispersed. You, and you alone, will vanquish this terror. But only with the assistance of heroes across the continent can you be successful. Your mission is not to weaken it. Yours is to kill it. Trust in the knowledge that others like you answer the call to arms, take up the flames, and burn away the cysts that cover the land, and power the Elder Brain and its dark designs. But know this, the vestiges, the lieutenants of the Brain, have entreated with the embittered spirits of Tamreon, convincing many to strike out against the mortal peoples, with the promise to return their lost lands to them, when the One Flesh has been released.
Fools.
Indeed.
What else does it serve you to tell us?
I was one of the first. Tearing away from the prison of Liban, I struck out eons ago. Releasing myself, biding my time, I found this place. Slowly, carefully, have I welcomed others into my family. I hold no love for my progenitor. I seek to grow my brood and return to the stars. I care not for the blood of this world. If you can stop that which hungers and those that serve it, it will give me the time I need to return to the outer dark. I promise no oath, but with my word, I assure you, I will take only what I require. I will do as little harm as I can manage, and I will leave this world behind and return to where I belong.
Camellia, still disgust and loathing written plainly across his corpuscular face, will look to the rest of the party questioningly. Anything else for the parasite?
Is that to me or is that to your party?
That's to the party.
Very good.
And I know it can hear me, but I'm not talking to it.
Yeah.
Kyle just kind of shakes her head helplessly.
I want to give Marin a reassuring and knowing look.
And you'll just hear in your head like there's no way I can let this thing go. Rialta would never allow it.
We won't. But not today.
Don't like it, but if we're not all in the fight right now, then we'll all die.
I hate it. But by the stars and the sea, I will return with you at my side.
And much like when you had interluded, every time, despite the fact that you're all speaking within your own brains, all of the creatures, aside from the aboleth, within this cavern, react when you speak of hate and anger and revenge. Any dangerous or hostile words, it seems as though they all take a step closer to you, all begin looming over you, and you realize then that you're all surrounded. The creatures that had been hiding within the water have now exited out and have cut off any possible avenues of escape that you may consider taking. You realize that the promises of this creature were not prideful declarations, but what it believes to be fact.
I understand. I understand entirely. And I have every honest intention of going and being this thing's cat's paw and accomplishing its objectives. And it should know that after I'm done doing its bidding, I'm going to come back and try to kill it. And hopefully, I'm more useful to it now, alive than dead. And it can make its preparations while I'm gone. I have every intention of leaving today without doing any combat. This is all internal, but
Yes.
I'm imagining this. This is knowingly internal, all right?
Yes, exactly.
I think we understand each other. We're dealing with simple facts, no oaths, no promises, just information.
Exactly.
So I think that it can trust these things to back off because I'm not going to do anything today.
Kyle was having very similar thoughts that, like, she was about to, like, send a message to Camellia and be like, we can still kill it later, right?
I think that as this mental conversation is going on between Maron and Camellia just looks over at Kyle, sees the face, and just doesn't even send a message, doesn't even get the message, just nods.
All of you get this wash of emotion as if not words, but feelings are being transmitted into your brains. You understand that everything that you've said is true, and it understands that you mean everything that you feel and that you've expressed. You also get the feeling that pride, this creature is pride incarnate, but not ego. It knows that it is above you. It's not even better than you. You're not even registered as being a being to it. Not until you've joined its family, anyway. And it doesn't need to rise to anger or to save face. It merely shares what it has and understands that at this point, you are very likely to come back and attempt to destroy it. And you understand that the only reason it's offering you this information rather than trying to kill you or absorb you is that it does, at least as much as it can, in your eyes, care for these children that it has absorbed into its family. And it would rather send you off with information to help it than risk losing any of its kin. But you do get the assurance back that if you do return, even though you know where it lairs, it will be ready. It will not be an easy encounter, and every single being that you've hoped to save now love the aboleth more than it ever loved what it was, and it will be willing to die for its master. And it wants you to carry the knowledge knowing that for every life you snuff out to attempt to destroy it is the life of a creature that you did at one point swear to care about, or that someone cared about it.
Camellia doesn't blink, doesn't register.
Be gone.
At this point, Kyle knows that Turiana isn't in there anymore. And her only kind of stipulation to it is if they come back, if they fight, that one's on her. And Maron already knows that.
Camellia is going to turn on his heel and start walking away. Just sloshing into the river, back the way he came.
Kyle takes a deep breath, heaves this huge sigh, and then squares her shoulders and follows.
Kyle, as you are leaving, you don't have to, but the thrall, once known as Duriana, tries to catch your eye. Do you meet its gaze or move on?
Yeah.
You can
No, I meet
see
its gaze.
that the once Duriana grins at you once more and just says as plainly as it can, "Hero. Friend.
Hero,
Bye."
friend. Goodbye.
And you can see that it reaches up and is holding on to the moonstone necklace that you tied around it. And just, even as you turn to walk away, until you are well out of sight, and even for the next hour after you've left this place, the once Duriana's vision does not leave the spot where it last saw you, and it stands there for a full hour until it is instructed to do something else, anything else. But until that happens, it just stands there, holding on to that moonstone and staring longingly at what could have been.
Kyle doesn't say a single word for quite some time, but it is probably very obvious to the whole party that she has internalized that this fucking elder brain is going to die because Duriana's sacrifice will not be in vain. That girl is a hero, and even if she didn't make it to the end, she is going to be a part of saving this world. Like, you can see all of that in the way that Kyle is carrying herself. She's like, we're gonna fucking do this. It's been a while since she was this determined, and it was the last time someone she loved was taken from her.
And now that Camellia and Kyle have turned to leave, sloshing and slopping and striding away, Chi and Maron, do you follow?
Marin starts walking out, but in the equivalent of Kyle punching drywall, just chucks his mace at a wall and then force pulls it back and then puts it away. Not you,
She
Kyle,
is
but
pretty.
the meme Kyle.
Yeah.
Figured.
She has been pretty stoic throughout everything. So she doesn't really say much of anything. She just kind of walks out behind Kyle. Again, just kind of being like next to her. Like every once in a while, like her wing will like brush Kyle's like shoulder or something like that. But
Tiny little grays.
mhm. But yeah,
Kyle
she doesn't say
notices every single time and appreciates it every single time.
Marin's pretty goofy and aloof most of the time, and you have never seen them so pissed off in the like month you've been traveling.
That's my secret. I'm always angry.
And it's going to take you about 15, almost 20 minutes, depending on how quickly you leave, to find your way out of these tunnels. And additionally, if I could go ahead and have no more than 2 of you make a survival check to try to remember how to get out of here without an escort.
I'll take one.
Not me.
I got a
It's
whole
only a
plus
15.
Somebody else can either give you advantage or can try and take a crack at it themselves.
I mean, I'll click the button.
I would like to use my tessography ability.
There you
How's a what now?
go.
I choose a friendly creature within 60 feet, roll d20, and record the number rolled. And then if I choose, I can replace their roll with this number.
Oh, snap. Okay.
I'm not going to do that.
Well,
I rolled a 6.
so here's the thing. Failure doesn't necessarily mean you're stuck here forever. What it means is I misspoke. It doesn't take you 15 or 20 minutes to find your way out. It takes you about an hour as you are wandering through this underground near the water caverns before you're able to make your way back out into the light of the world. And as you do, you return. And as you leave, you are covered in muck and grime, and you're able to return back to Boat. The boat without a name. Boat also doesn't have a driver. Orignan Drake is nowhere to be seen when you've come back. You spend about 5 minutes looking around the nearby brush and wooded area, calling out to him, but it seems as though there is no trace of the forlorn river driver.
Matt, when I
Yeah.
saw through, did I forget, did I make a skill check to know his name? Or at least his title, if not his like name?
Did you get to roll a skill check? I forget.
I don't recall doing that.
Why don't you go ahead and make a history check?
Okay. Could I do nature?
You can do nature, for sure. For sure. A 13.
Mm-hmm.
You remember a title, not a name.
Okay.
The Misbegotten Princeling. You believe that the Holly, there's a son of another. This is the son, or at least you believe this was the son of another greater Lord of the Fae.
Okay. I'd like to cast Sending.
Okay. Well, there you go. You know, as a DM, I have to say, I always forget that players have magic, is the thing.
Remember in Coriander Society, every single time you're like, hey, remember that NPC that you haven't thought of in like a year, Joseph? I'd like to sending them right now.
Yeah, right this moment. Well, here's the nice thing that you get to do now. You got 25 words, my dude. What do you got?
I don't know where you've gone. I hope you're out finding others. Safe travels. You can respond to this message.
I was expecting it, and we're taking your boat.
That's implied.
There
I
is
think
a great pause. A lot of time passes. So much time passes, in fact, that you think, oh, they're not going to reply to me, or it didn't reach them. But you do finally hear back in a very melodic kind of voice. Oh, you survived! I knew you would, to be sure, to be sure. I'm doing just that. But don't forget, I'm still watching over you too. Now fuck off. Sorry.
Arkfey.
Now fuck off.
Arkfey doesn't have to obey the rules. It's just how it is. All right. Well, we know where.
Yeah,
our
just to be sure, it's just one word. Just gonna put that out there.
Oh, okay. So that messes up my math. That messes up my math.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
It's Fey
Sure.
rules. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like how
That's
curse words are a comma for me.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It's one word. You know, it just takes a while.
Okay.
Sure.
So
It's
we
a little
know
precocious.
what we have to do. We know we can't do it alone. And we know what we have to do afterwards. Let's get to it.
And before too much time passes, I do want to let you all know we have inspiration for Camellia. So I'm going to redeem this. If you can add inspiration to your character sheet, mate.
Mm-hmm.
We have inspiration for nighttime. You have 2, in fact. So if you could go ahead and add 2 inspiration to your character sheet. And then we have an inspiration for Kyle as well, just for being amazing. And there we are. So, do you all get on the boat? You know that at this point, you have actually made your way deep into the following regions, and you are not that far actually from your destination. You've entered into the depths of Moggersinti, and in this land ruled by the Fae, but also the people of the mortals also live alongside them. This is one of the few places where both mortal and supernatural entities are able to live in a certain sense of harmony. And you know that if you go either by boat or by walking, it just take you about a day or so to arrive at the mountains.
Before we go anywhere, and I might need a slight refresher, was there absolutely no sign of there having been a name on this boat? Or did it look like it was scraped off? Like,
Scraped
are there
off.
any...
Yes.
Okay.
There was once a name, but it had been removed, and it was very obvious that it had been removed.
So with Captain not around to get in our way anymore, can I take just a couple of minutes and like look really closely like that? Like,
Make
for
either
extra-
an investigation or a perception check for me, please.
definitely investigation. Ooh, that was a bad roll. Turned out it's 14.
A 14's not too bad, but this was... You spend probably about... While everyone's getting prepared, because again, none of you, aside from yourself, you're the only, I would say... Do you have water vehicle proficiency?
I do.
No. Oh, you do? Okay, well, you do have
I
an
was a
actual
sailor,
proficient
you know.
sailor. You've been on a lot of boats, Kyle, but you're not a proficient sailor yourself. So
But
while...
I can do what I'm told to do. If
Absolutely.
somebody who's a proficient sailor is like, do this thing, I'm like, got it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. However, while Camellia is getting the boat ready for all of you to make your way... Ooh, hello.
Poorly.
You do have
But
inspiration.
there's
if
a
you wanted to
crew
use it.
here, so we can aid them, right?
Yes, you are able to aid them. If you'd like, you can either roll your own check or you can give advantage to the person.
Advantage.
All right, go ahead and roll again, Camellia, and take the better. By the way, I will laugh if it's like a 2 or something. But while he's getting the boat ready, it takes you about 5 minutes or so that you're just sitting there puzzled, looking over, trying to make out the words. And you realize that this was... It's not even there's like magic or anything. It's just that someone came over here with a knife and just took it into the side of this boat. And it is very difficult to make out. From what you've ascertained, you are able to make out what you believe is an R, probably an L, and definitely ends in an E, somewhere in that order. R, then L, then E. But those are the only words you're able to make out.
Go. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay.
And with that, unfortunately, you weren't able to discover the previous name of what Drake informed you was just named Boat, the boat without a name. But you're able to. Camille, did you roll again, by the way, to take the better?
Do I get advantage?
Well,
yeah, I aided you, so you.
Marin's
Oh,
aiding you.
okay. Yeah. Let's try again.
And survey says, please be a 2.
18.
Oh, much better. Okay. Takes you a little bit of time to get it going, but this is not much different. It's a rather small version of what the large sailing ships you used to sail upon in the seas, or at least at one point you did. Sheridan did. But Camellia is still proficient. They still understand the going-ons. You've spent quite a bit of time in the water. And so it doesn't take you long in order to get the boat together, and you all hop on board and begin making your way down. And let me go ahead
With a
and
nice air-conditioned dome.
Yes, with that very lovely dome. And as you make your way down, like I said, it takes you little more than a day in order to make your way to the Silopequan Mountains. And as you approach, you can see that it gets darker and darker the closer that you arrive to the Heart of Darkness, which is the other name for these mountains. And I'd like each of you to go ahead and please make a wisdom saving throw for me, as you spent quite a bit of time here in the water, and there are no more settlements between here and the Silopequan Mountains. So
That's a
I need some
26 word.
inspiration.
okay, go ahead and let me know when you're comfortable with your roll. I'm not going to say what happens until you tell me if you're comfortable with it or not.
Just let me see if I can.
I'm
I
gonna
burn
use
one
another
inspiration.
inspiration.
Oh, it sucks, you guys. I'm so sorry. Jeez.
Okay, I like that one.
Well, hold on. You're only allowed to spend inspiration once per roll, right?
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
will
I
take
got a
2
4.
inspiration to let you do that second roll if you'd like.
1 and then 3.
So
Yeah, you know
total
what?
of 3.
I'll still have 3 left. It's fine.
Wowzers. Okay, go ahead and mark off those 3 inspiration, and yes, you can have the 18.
Scrooge McDuck.
Camellia, you're good with the 20, right?
Yes, I'm happy with that. I'll sit on that.
Okay, and then oh, well, so this is interesting. This is funny. Ooh, wow. Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. Aaron, you'll be fine, and Kyle, you roll a 10. Are you gonna hold true to that?
I was just looking to see if there's anything that I could do other than spending inspiration.
Yeah.
Um,
And while you're thinking this over, can you remind me, group? I believe while the tea was able to help that one time, you still are suffering from nightmares. That has not been cured yet.
it is not.
Greater Restoration was the T, right?
Yeah, I used Greater Resto.
Oh.
So your call if that helps or not, Matt.
Yeah, I thought it was just to get rid of the. I thought that you had used a tea that was just removing
yeah.
exhaustion.
Let me show you what let me show you what I got.
Okay.
I got my tea ceremony, which gets rid of exhaustion, and I've got my herbal remedy, which I used earlier.
Once per strong. Okay, yeah, that did it. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is why when
gosh, you're busted. Oh, you're so busted.
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
ooh.
My combat abilities are awful, but my just nopes are good.
Dude, I'm well aware. You
Your
choked on your own
combat
attack
abilities are
roll.
even further diminished because you chucked your blow dart gun into the water.
Yeah, it did 2 points of damage, and I didn't buy any poison before we left.
Okay.
I'm gonna let it stand.
You know, let it stand. Okay. So you were able to best the nightmares with Camelia's help. However, as you have spent quite a bit of time here in the fog over the last number of days, and please let me know if this works. Did that? Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. However, on this last day leading up to the Salopequan Mountains, you are troubled by awful, horrific dreams, but they're very, very reminiscent about the recent encounter that you had with Doriana and the Aboleth. You, every night since then, have replayed almost word for word and scene for scene. That exact moment has played out in your mind. And there comes a point where every time in your nightmare you think about fighting against this horrible, oppressive creature that is only serving itself under the guise of building a family. And you decide, no, I will step in. I will save my friend. And as you plunge your sword into the mouth of the aboleth, you wake up from your dream realizing, no, you didn't do that. You chose peace. And you hold yourself, knowing that you've made the best choice that you could, but you still regret it. And I'd like you to please roll a 1d100 for me.
Okay, right before I do that though,
Yeah?
just because Kyle needs to clarify that she did not choose peace. She chose delayed violence.
My apologies. Delayed violence.
That's probably not good.
A 13. Ooh, lucky number 13.
Depends on who you ask.
Oh. Okay, interesting. The rest of you awaken from your sleep. Kyle does not. Kyle, you are still in your dream, battling the monsters of your conscience and preparing for your future altercation that you've promised yourself will come. And as your group approaches the mountains, you see the area around you not just covered by the fog, but it darkens. As you enter the loci of this mountain, the area of influence, everything gets dark. And you are almost blinded as the fog that normally reduces your vision to mere inches in front of you when it gets dark, even in broad daylight, in the shadow of Salopequa, it does the same. The mountain explodes before you. You cover your eyes and hold your ears as there is a howling and a shrieking as smoke and shadow rain down from upon you. You see a horde of spirits flying out from the mountain, spinning around in the air and riding upon great, terrible steeds. I'd like everyone to please make a history or a nature check, please.
Oh, I'm good at intelligence stuff.
22 history.
21.
I'm 4.
Camellia and Kyle, you recognize the spirits howling and riding above you are a hunt, a wild hunt that have exploded out from the peak of the dark mountain of Salopequa, and they are descending upon you, flying overhead. You realize no matter what you do, Kyle cannot be awoken from their slumber as they appear to be paralyzed, stuck in their nightmare. As the forces that parade across the sky draw closer and closer and closer, much like the fog of the murky veil draws closer to the settlements of the mortals of Tamreon. And it is here that we will draw our adventure closed for now. Thank you all for tuning in for Curse of Tamreon, our community game of adventures. This has been the first part where we follow a group of adventurers seeking to stop the curse that affects all within Tamreon. Please, I invite you to join us in our following weeks, every single Friday and on some Saturdays and Sundays for some of our groups, as we will be joining many different adventurers across Tamreon as they do their part to undo the horrors, the unspeakable terrors that lie just beyond the depths and just within the fog. We'll be returning next week. Until then, thank you all very much and have a wonderful night.
Goodbye. Goodbye forever.